and I'm really tiny in the corner. Welcome back to part 9 of What If Naruto was Adopted by Tsunade and Jiraya. Last time on the Naruto What If, we had the conclusion of Gaara's rescue arc. Chio did unfortunately give her life still to save Gaara, and we had basically all Team 7 is fine, but there was still a bit of a, not a reprimanding, because she is the Hokage, but the elders were still able to convince her to add a 5th member to Team 7, and basically it'd be co-led by Sasuke and Kakashi. But most importantly, we go into the Sasuke, well, the bridge arc, I guess is the best way to phrase it. It's not a Sasuke retrieval, it's the bridge arc. I think it's the best way it's called, the best terminology I think we have for it, right? What is the name of that arc called again? Because I think if there's like 2 different Sasuke retrieval arcs, and there's one in the original and one in the second. And I always blank. I think this is like the something bridge arc, right? Let's see here. Ship it in. Tenchi Bridge Reconnaissance Mission arc. That's what it's called. Okay. So we have that. Now you might be asking, wait. You said you killed Orochimaru. Orochimaru is dead. By all accounts, he is dead. His soul was taken by the Shinigami. Save for these small amounts that exist within the curse mark, there'd be no way to bring him back. And yes, I did say that. And I am not wrong in that in this case, at least from the way I'm interpreting the story. He's dead. He's gone. There's no way to bring him back, like barring a miracle. But I did say his practices lived on. And so they are the Ambu that are given, the information to go to do the reconnaissance mission go. They're in the skies and they see the spy. And they go, and the one discusses sorcery goes to talk to said spy, and they are immediately taken out by the spy. A tendril snake head comes, shoots through them, and skewers out. I was like, he's found us. You're the ones they sent to the village. I suppose I can get something out. And it's revealed to be Kabuto. However, this isn't quite the same Kabuto we get later on in the series. Now, I said that Orochimaru's practices lived on, and I mean that. Because as we saw Kabuto alters himself greatly. He used the remaining of the white snake to incorporate it into his DNA, plus some bone-released DNA for Kimimaro, plus Suigetsu's DNA, plus Karin's DNA, plus I believe a little bit of Jungo's DNA to kind of bind it all together, if I'm not mistaken. Now, we don't have the white snake here, but you have to believe there was DNA of Orochimaru lying around. So he could do something along those lines. But that's not all of it. Now, there isn't a lot left over from, say, the Sound 4. For example, there's nothing Jirobo or Tayuyu could add to really improve Kabuto beyond that point. However, as the Ambus get in to attack him, his hands are just to the side. All of a sudden, more snakes shoot out, and they're like shooting. He's using a combination of that, shooting like caustic acid out of their mouths. Some of them get hit. It's like, what? I didn't even see him make hand signs. And all of a sudden, they're getting into close combat. Kabuto they grab Kabuto's hands. Are you so sure? All of a sudden, the other arms come out. This is what he took from Kinemaro. He gave himself multiple arms. So I think he only gave himself an extra set. I believe Kinemaro had 6 arms because the spider motif, 6 arms, 2 legs, 4 limbs, or 8 limbs. But here he's only got the extra set of arms, which is more than enough to scare the piss and be like, get away from him! And all of a sudden, he lets go, fortunately, only to suddenly feel something in his body. Like the last one of the last 2 remaining ones feels something in there. It's like, I'm sorry, were you planning to go somewhere? And this is what he took from Sakan and Ukon. He's killed them at this point. Sakan and Ukon is that because he was able to add multiple different Kekkei Genkais to his body. Let's be honest, the liquefaction technique might not be a Kekkei Genkai, but there's no proof to say it isn't a Kekkei Genkai, because the only person outside of the Hozuki clan to use it did it genetically and added it to his body. We know you can add a Kekkei Genkai genetically to your body. Just look at Danzo. So I'm treating it as a Kekkei Genkai for what it is. Now, how to add a sentient other being into you? I'll admit I struggled with that concept for a bit. But there is a workaround for that. and that is this. Because Orochimaru, by extension, Kabuto, are scientists, because he had a full 3.5 years to work on this, I mean, for God's sake, it took Kabuto, what? From when Orochimaru died to... I mean, not even a year passed in shipping him for that. It took him less than a year to do all of that. So what is he able to do with 3.5 years? Well, cloning someone is not... We saw what Orochimaru did. He literally created freaking Mizuki. So it's not impossible to think that with some research and time and using his own DNA and stuff like that, he was able to make pretty much a bare bones clone of himself, explain who he was, but being smart, unlike someone like Ukon and Sakan, who were more or less independent and just worked together. Being smart and basically having like a fail-safe kill switch backup plan kind of thing in case it ever went rogue. But yeah, he has a duplicate of himself in him. That's messed up. So that guy basically just eats away at the Amba's body. I think he's also learned this quick in the process. Just turns his body into the Amba's body into his body. And now they just have the last remaining one who they put under a genjutsu and bring back to their base. Like, now let's see what you know, and just goes through all the knowledge this guy knows because he doesn't have any protections. Village secrets, great. So Sasuke is still in the village, and he's grown even stronger. And they haven't even been able to get the curse mark off of him. Oh, this is good. And so Kabuto has a new ambition. He wants some of that Sasuke. He's going to have that Sasuke, put him inside of him, and this has gone on long enough for the innuendo here. So now that's happened. We now kind of fast forward a little bit through some of these paces here. While Jiraiya is in the village, I could see a very nice, just sweet scenario where, Naruto and Sasuke, they're all out. One day, Tsunade wakes up and Jiraiya's next to her. I mean, they probably, it was after, a night of, lovemaking or whatever. So they, she's next to, and she just suddenly just realizes just how happy she is. She can't believe that this idiot really was, the best thing that could have happened to her. Now, I should note when she says, if she thinks something like that, she is not belittling all that time with Don. I think his name was Don. Don, her first lover. Maybe not her first lover, but her main lover, the one that died. I don't think she ever belittles that, and she loved him, and she still loves him to this day. But it's one of those things where just because you lose someone doesn't mean you can't love again. And I think that's the case. She didn't realize she could be happy again, and of all people, it's with Jiraiya, and Jiraiya wakes up, and is like, good morning. It's like, well, what are you thinking? What are you thinking about? And she's just like, yeah, nothing. And then they just share some more intimate time together, but they're very much happy together, and I think it'd be just a nice scene to have. And so there you go. Those are the scenes that no further point to the plot, but I think are important to have to kind of make the story feel more real. And so beyond that, though, the death of Azuma still happens, sadly. There's nothing that we can get away from that. While that's been going on, though, Team 7 has been trying to get along with their new teammate, but Sai is just a pain in the ass, as he always is. He's sarcastic, he's rude, he doesn't understand these concepts of friends and loyalty. Now, granted, he's not going to be belittle Sasuke like he did in the original, because Sasuke didn't go out and try to go to Orochimaru here. He does make a comment saying that, how dangerous someone with Orochimaru's influence could be. I think that would be something that'd be something he'd do. And Sakura gets really pissed off. He's like, why, you son of a... Naruto and Sasuke kind of have to keep her back. It's like, it's all right. Look, I've always known since I got this thing that I'm going to receive some ridicule. It's fine. I get it. Oh, well, it seems that it's fine. Oh, well, seems you are able to control your temper. Very hard to do that with your I assumed, based on what I could see, your temper was as big as your forehead, to which Sasuke and Naruto and even Kakashi be like, big step back. He's got this one coming. And then, sure enough, crack, boom, just skips like a stone. But as time goes on, and he sees the bonds these three have, there's four technically if you count Kakashi, and them laughing, his thoughts do go to his brother. So as time progresses, he's worn down, I think, to at least something of what we get near the end of that arc, where he's a lot more willing to learn about bonds. He's nowhere near that. He's not like again, let's use a number scale real quick. If that's a 10 where he's at, he's more hovering around a 6. He's got a ways to go, but he's getting there. But then they hear the news of Azuma's death. They all go, they all mourn. And that Team 10 obviously is going to go out and try to take out Kakuzu and Hidan. And Naruto is strong enough to try to take out either of them, but Naruto has still been working on something and trying to get something down that he just can't seem to grasp. And Sasuke, is helping him train with elemental release because he does have all the elemental releases, thanks to just Sharingan training. Let me rephrase that. He has fire and lightning, but he can use all the elements. You don't need an affinity for an element to use an element. It just makes using that element easier. So Naruto has been trying to get something beyond the Wind Rasengan. I was about to say Rasengan. The Wind Rasengan and the Fire Rasengan down. And he explains to Sasuke how he's been able to do it. With better chakra control and just adding the element gradually as he's creating the Rasengan, that's how he was able to do it. I think this Naruto can, in fact, use it one-handed, the elemental Rasengan. But the Rasen Shurikens, the upgraded versions, that's something he can't do without an extra clone. He hasn't been able to figure it out at this point. Even using Sage Mode, he can throw the technique he learned, but he can't seem to go beyond that. It just kind of disperses. And if he's not and he's had a couple close calls too, where it nearly messed him up. So they're working on it, and and Naruto and Sasuke is looking at it with his Sharingan's like. It's kind of like looking two ways at once. You can't pump too much more chakra in there without losing control. Like 2 ways at once? Of course! And then, obviously, Rasen Shuriken and the true Rasen Inferno are born. Again, I like them. Rasen Shuriken, we don't need any explanation of what that is. The Rasen Inferno, the first Fire Rasengan, I like it to a small sun. That basically kind of implodes and boom, it expands, but only like that big. It's still something that incinerates. The upgraded version of the Rasen Inferno, or the Rasen Nova, we can call it, which is actually, Rasen Inferno flows better, but Rasen Nova, I think, is still a good name. Is basically like, it gets bigger, but then as he tosses it, especially when he uses Sage Mode, it basically just, and then boom, like a supernova, and just erases everything there. And so they go day 1810. That would go exactly as you expect, especially with Sasuke there. So there's nothing really to add on to nothing changes at all. Naruto basically they do a rock, paper, scissors, Naruto wins. Like, I want to see how that new technique of yours goes against an opponent. Which one would you want? Fire or wind? And hey, I'm the fire guy myself. So let me see what you got, dweeb. It's like, you're on duck butt. And he creates it. And fires it, and Kakuzu tries to get out of the way, and then just and Kakuzu's pretty much just incinerated down to like he's missing half his body, and the other halves are like barely. And like, what the hell? It's like, and everyone's like, whoa. And so there you have it. Now we get to an interesting part here. This is where the Itachi arc. Oh, actually, I got those arcs on here. What was this arc's name called again? This arc was called Fated Battle Between Brothers. That's what it was called. The Itachi Pursuit mission, the Tale of the Gallant Jiraiya, and then the Fated Battle Between Brothers. There are some filler arcs here too that I'm not going to even bother going. And there's the Pain. So yeah, there's a Pain Assault arc. And then there's Five Kong Summit. Yep, Power was an anime exclusive. Paradise and Lifeboat was actually an anime exclusive. The Four Shinobi War Countdowns and Confrontation. The Four Shinobi War Climax. The Birth of the Ten Tails. Kaguya Otsutsuki Strikes. Yep, that was basically it. Yeah, those were all of them. Apparently there was a lot of blank period stuff going on there. Anywho, though. So, Itachi, knowing that his day is coming in, and knowing that he needs to give his Sharingan to Sasuke, and knowing that Sasuke, at this point, Sasuke's good. He's not going to be able to he's not going to be able to stop Sasuke. Although there is still one thing he knows about Sasuke that he needs to take care of, which, if you watch the original, you know what that is. But he's also heard telltales of the snake's return, like Orochimaru's back, but that's impossible. And at one point, and I can imagine it coming down to Kabuto finds the Akatsuki. Now Deidara is dead at this point. I believe I killed. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I straight out killed Deidara here. So all the Akatsuki that were originally dead at this point are dead at this point. You still have Itachi, Kasame, Pain, Pain, Konan, Zetsu, and Toby. Kabuto ultimately ends up finding them using Sage Mode, most likely, to locate them. And offers his assistance in exchange for one thing. I want your brother, Itachi. I want Sasuke. And he shows off his new forms. Like, yeah, no, he doesn't take everything up, but he does show like his new forms. Like, you can see I've gone under some transformations to find what I call the real me. I haven't gotten there yet, but I feel every step of the way I get a little closer. I feel your brother is part of that equation, Itachi. So, what do you say? Are you willing to let me take your brother, or are you going to fight me on it? To which, initially, I think words here. Itachi say, do what you with my brother, and my brother is just a nuisance. Do what you will. But inside he's like, this is not good. And so, and he shows he can use the Edo Tensei. He has all the abilities pretty much Orochimaru had. So he is very much an asset to the Akatsuki that they don't want to just pass up. But Itachi does ask for Sasuke. Like I always say, he probably sends the crow out at night. It gets delivered to Sasuke. Sasuke, though, I think brings it up to the Hokage and everyone. And he has the other teams waiting in the back, but he brings Naruto with him. And Naruto and it's Sasuke confront Itachi. And Itachi is both surprised and not surprised. Like, he was hoping it'd just be Sasuke, but he shouldn't be surprised that Naruto is there. Truth be told, he has been more of a brother to Sasuke than he has. Even though we all know that Itachi actually very much loved his brother. If we're going to be honest, yeah, even though he loved his brother, his actions weren't very brotherly. And so I was like, I see you brought a friend, Sasuke. I was hoping this would just be between you and me. It's like, yeah, you think I'm stupid. I can't guarantee I can beat you on my own. But Naruto, I have Naruto, and Naruto immediately has Sage Mode up, and they begin their fight. And it's Itachi uses Tsukuyomi. Sasuke barely breaks out of it, whereas Naruto is fighting Itachi as well. He's able to use Kurama to just get out of the Nine Tails chakra, along with Sage Mode to get out of there. Itachi gets blasted back when he feels the Sage Mode's push. He goes to the ninjutsu. It quickly starts to fail. Would Sasuke have developed Kirin in this time? Probably. I think. I don't. Look, the fact that he was with Orochimaru does make things a little difficult to interpret in terms of his growth and progression. But I have to assume that he probably still could have developed Kirin on his own. He does that. They both are like, huh, oh man, that was nuts. It's like, yeah, you tell me about it. Is that really all you have? And it's like, well, if you're done, then it's my turn. And Susanoo's showing up, and Sasuke and Naruto are like, oh crap. Throws a Rasen Shuriken and a Rasen Inferno. They merged. Actually, you know what? That's where the Rasen Nova comes in. You have the Rasen Inferno. You have the Rasen Shuriken. Wind and fire combined to create even more massive explosion. That's the Nova. So they combine. Boom. He's got the Yotamir, though. He even comes like, that would have maybe even destroyed my Susanoo had that hit properly. I'm impressed, Naruto. But is this really all you have? Sasuke's throwing everything he can at him. And unfortunately, things are just going south real fast. Itachi's coughing up blood. Naruto's like, I got to try something. He gets his seal. He just starts throwing out as many clones as he can. They're all laying seals down. Itachi recognizes chakra seals. You're planning to absorb my Susanoo, aren't you? Unfortunately, I can't have that. And then he brings out the Tosca blade, and he's aiming it. But what they notice is he kind of fine-tunes it. It gets really sharp, really thin. It's like, now, Sasuke, you're mine. No, Sasuke! And then he just grabs Naruto. And Sasuke can't move, and all of a sudden just, what? Seems I need, and because there's no way Orochimaru could come out of Sasuke in this version. It seems now I finally get taken out the last of that pesky snake. And the curse mark goes. Like, he fine-tuned. And if you think that's impossible, it might be. but it's A, my story, but B, because of how strong Itachi ultimately was, even in such a weakened and on death's door state, I would not put it past him to be able to do something like that. And so the curse mark is absorbed out of him, and Itachi collapses, just coughing up blood. I'm sorry, Sasuke. He's got like seconds left. Forgive me. Forgive me. And he just walks towards him, and Naruto's trying to get up, and just boop, pops him and says, "You win, little brother." And then just falls dead. And they all just, oh god. And then Naruto basically's like, hold on, I guess we gotta take his body, don't we? He's like, and he steals up Itachi, and they have to get the hell out of there. And Zetsu's like, Itachi is dead, but Sasuke and Naruto are taking his body. I see. That's more or less what I expected, but still quite annoying. But no matter, we'll deal with it. It's only a mild, not footnote. It's only a mild speed bump. Only a mild speed bump on the road to victory. And then he disappears out of there. So they get back, and it's like, okay, report. We have Itachi's body, and we have his eyes, and the curse mark was removed. And Tsunade's astounded by this. Oh, wow, amazingly. And Itachi does, say, I do have a request. Given I have been able to learn how to read the scrolls, the tablet in the Uchiha family clan. It's clan house, I guess. In the basement of the Uchiha clan. But apparently, I need more abilities. My Sharingan needs to evolve more for me to read more of it. In order to do that, I need to gain access to both the Mangekyo and the Eternal Mangekyo. To which we know Sasuke did ultimately gain access to the Mangekyo because of what just happened there. And he'll find that out later on. And unfortunately, I don't know if I have access to it at this time. But what I can do is transfer Itachi's eye. Basically, to gain the Eternal, I need to implant my brother's eyes into my head. With your permission, I would like to undergo the procedure. To which Tsunade agrees. And I'm going to do a little time adjustment here. After the surgery is taken care of, they are called in, and they're just discussing things. Naruto, Sasuke is recovering, but he can be there. Like he's got crutches. Sasuke's holding his arm. Kakashi's there. All Team 7 is there, and that's when they get the news. Now to cut back to when Jiraiya left, it's a very different conversation. Obviously, they are still. I mean, they're professional in public, but they're more or less a husband and wife. They've never been officially married. And I think that's something is like, all this time, I don't think we've ever officially tied the knot. It's like, oh, well, there's plenty of time. Ninjas' lives are short. You better make that prompt. You better do something about that before the day comes or one of us gets taken down. Well, and he just gives her a really good kiss goodbye. It's like, well, that I'm gonna have to keep you to that promise you're going to have to keep me to that promise when I get back. And so he heads off to handle Pain. And unfortunately, even with a perfect stage mode, there's not really much Jiraiya could have done against Pain. I had to think on that for a while. And I argued that, I think, in the last video, too, about whether or not it would have mattered. And the truth is, it probably wouldn't have. His Sage Chakra would have been more effective and a bit more potent. But it ultimately wouldn't matter because Nagata says if Jiraiya had known the secret behind the paths, he would have been in much more trouble. He would have been a lot more trouble. So it really wasn't about him beating them. And even so, I highly doubt he could beat the David path. Even if he were to be a 5 out of the 6, he couldn't be. He just didn't have an ability, except for maybe the Genjutsu, to take down the David path. That's it. And then that would require them using the Genjutsu again, and they're not going to let him get that off the second time. So unfortunately, Jiraiya has been killed. And this hits a lot of people, but particularly Naruto and Tsunade really, really hard. And, they're dismissed, but Naruto is at home and he's with his mom and they're kind of just tired. Like they're still trying to process. And Tsunade is the first one, honestly, who starts weeping. Like everyone she loves dies. Like everyone she's ever loved, her brother, Don, and now Jiraiya, who she didn't think could make her happy, and was able to make her happy. and who she loved is gone, and she's just breaking down. And Naruto just holds his mom, and he starts shedding tears too, and they have a good cry, and ultimately it is well, Naruto did probably have his walk. I think what happens here is Naruto has that walk through the village, and then he goes to his mom, and they just finally have that cry. But ultimately, they mourn, but they also understand that this is the ninja's life, and he died protecting not just the village, but protecting us. He died because he loved us, and he wanted us to keep going on. And, you honor that person's memory no matter what. And Tsunade, and he's always going to be around no matter what, Mom. And Tsunade, smiles. Just like Uncle Don, and just like Uncle Nawaki, and just like, I don't know what the term with Don would be. I think he knows Don. Maybe he knows Don as an uncle too. I don't know. Like, at least in concept, just like Uncle Nawaki and Don, like they're always going to be around because he knows about Don. I'm sure he does. And she just smiles at her son, and in that, despite the tears, he's having that confidence and that smile of confidence. It's like, how the hell did I raise such a kid who could just take me from my lowest moment and make it feel a little bit better? And they go, and finally they start for Jiraya's code, and the real one's not there. So we are now going into the pain arc. How is this arc going to different than the last one? Because Naruto doesn't need to go to Mount Miyabuku to train, at least not in the Sage Arts. So how is this going to go down? And how many more chapters we got of this? Probably parts, I should say. Probably 2. I guess 2 more, and then we're going to be done with this one. And then we'll be moving on to the next bowl. So until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you folks later.